All right, so snap earnings makes me want to look into some of these tech names, see where they're at in the chart. First one I picked is Meta, and this one I feel like I've already had this count for a while. I think it finished the overall first wave. So like if this was a first wave that started in 2012, took 10 years. So where would we realistically want to see a second wave go to? It's already gone way past where we normally look for, between the 50% and the 61% fibs. That being said, it can go all the way down here and not break the end of the first wave and still be valid. Is it going to do that? No, it's not going to do that. But let's just get into what I see for the count. So on the weekly time frame, I see us at 1, ABC 2, clear third wave right here, fourth wave right here, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're on. This is already on the fourth wave, or the fifth wave. I'm sorry. So now if we go to the daily time frame, let's just break down where we're at in the fifth wave. And you can see it clearly on the weekly time frame, and here you can break it down even more. So you have 1, 2, and then this ends up being like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. Somehow that's the third wave. Fourth wave, kind of like an ending diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth wave comes back into the first wave. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what it looks like to me. It looks like it might have already bottomed. And so I think that that's another reason why people are getting overly bearish on some of these names. They don't realize this has fallen from, this was at 382 and now it's at 126, and that was only about a year ago. So, I mean, I think we're getting kind of overly bearish here. So again, let me just double check again, but this is pretty clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And even if you take the fib retracement tool to get your target, I actually remember like last year predicting that this was going to go this low, and it's gone past my targets back then. I think I had like 150 or so. And so it hit the 50% retracement and the 0.61 fib. It looks good to go in my opinion. Let me go on the daily one more time. So we got 1, 2. This is most likely 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Here's the only thing that I remember looking at that potentially this just finished the third wave right here. So 1, 2, and then this whole thing is a third wave because it hit the 1.61 fib. It's either that or this is an ending diagonal and we've already bottomed. So if this is the end of the third wave, let's just say it's a third wave, then still, even with that, I would expect this to bounce to about 146 soon. And if we zoom in even farther here on the 2-hour time frame, let's just see what kind of pattern we got going on here. Clear ABCA, ABCB kind of goes in step with the overall market, in which I would expect a pullback So right now, after hours is at 126. That's still within a B wave possibility. And depending on how far it comes back, I would still expect a bounce to probably a little bit higher, probably into this area right here, maybe going into earnings or maybe after earnings for a fourth wave, or it's bottomed. But the fact that we have this move right here makes me think it didn't bottom. and there's going to be a fourth wave, and then we're going to see one more move lower. So I would expect this to bounce to about 145, and that lines up with my SPY prediction of going to like 385 to 395. So I'd look for A, B, C up here, around that area, and then if that were the case, the bottom of Meta would be I did that wrong. The bottom of Meta, I'd be looking for let's say this goes to 145. So that's a pretty bearish target. $90 to 76. And, you know, on a fifth wave too, a lot of times it will come down and just barely break the low here. So I still think that there's a little bit upside from here, maybe 10% from 126, 10 to 12% maybe, going into earnings or maybe after earnings, and then a sell-off one more time. So that's pretty much what I see on Meta. And then also, this is only the A wave. So I think there's potential that if this bottoms, let's say this bottoms at 110, we're going to get a B wave, and this is already retraced past about the 0.78 fib. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up going pretty far up on the bounce. Based on how far this has gone, I could see this being a flat, which means that the B wave would almost come to the very top of the beginning of the A wave, or maybe at least the 0.61 fib. Because if it ends up come to the 0.38 fib, then we'd be looking for a zigzag pattern. And the zigzag pattern would be looking at the 1.61 fib. And that goes to negative 57. That's not even a possibility. So I'd say there's a good chance this would end up being a flat overall. But I don't see this as the second wave being finished. So maybe a small bounce going into earnings, and then maybe one more move lower, and then it bounces for the B wave. And that kind of matches up with the overall market, to be honest. The overall market is putting in a second wave, in my opinion. So maybe this goes to 145, it comes down a little bit more, maybe down to 100 or so, maybe like 90 or 100. But I mean, it's already fallen 66% in the last year. So I mean, how much more is there to go? So basically, I'm saying there's not that much downside on this, but I think it's going to bounce to about 145 into earnings or after earnings, and that matches up with my SPY prediction of 385 to 395. So that's it. Just wanted to give that update. I'll probably do the other tech stocks here in a second too.